man. I want to know what Brad Holmes in Detroit Lions game plan was when it came to pass rush. That was the number one issue. And it seemed like in free agency, it was rumors that they were in it to win it for what was the brother's name that went from Philly to Arizona? Josh, I forget his name. Josh Sweat, I think his name was. And it was talks like, it was close that they were going to get him. And then it came out that he went to Arizona for 20 a year. And I understand not spending 20 a year on a guy who just had 6.5 sacks. And I understand he had 3 or 4 in the Super Bowl, but he had never had double-digit sacks, But the market is the market, right? They spent about $16 or $18 million on DJ Reed, the corner. I think a lot of us can agree we'd rather took that money and got a pass rusher. There's no disrespect to him. I mean, you still got Amik Roberts, you still got Ennis Rackstraw, you still got Terrion Arnold. I think we would have rolled the dice and rather had a nice pass rusher, but it just seemed that Brad puts more of a premium on defensive backs. And I remember Mayhew, he was a defensive back in the league, and he put more stock in defensive linemen. He didn't believe in drafting DBs higher, or spending money on them. And this seems to be the reverse. But check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I want to know what the plan was. I think maybe they had a short list of candidates in free agency, and Josh Sweat was on the short list. Then maybe their plan was to go in the draft, and I think they were prepared to spend capital. I think they understood they needed help. There was rumors that they were in talks to get Myles Garrett at the trade deadline. And there was Darius Smith or interest. Then there was talks about them being interested in the Myles Garrett again, Josh Sweat. So there were some interest there for the Lions. There were them peeking their head around at pass rushers, and I think they spent about $18 million on DJ Reed. So I don't understand where the train of thought was when it came to maybe only like the handful of guys. Now there are some guys still available like Matt Judon, local guy, didn't really live up to the hype coming off the injury with Atlanta. Who else we had out there? Sheesh Louise. Who else? I don't know who else out there right now. But obviously Trey Hendrickson, him and the Bengals, they beefing. But I didn't really know what the plan was. What is the plan now? Now that you got to the end of the road of the plan, okay, we at the end of the road of the plan. Okay, what we gonna do now? Because what we got right now is horrible. And they'll talk about the big fellas that you got in the middle of the defense, the Reader, the Lopez, and Lee McNeil come back, Anzarike, you know what I'm saying, Broderick Martin, Makai Wingo. But no, we need somebody off the edge. Now, seem to be rumors of saying they was trading up, it seemed like, to get James Pierce. And they missed out on that. So, they was trying to move up in the draft, didn't happen. Trying to move up and get James Pierce, didn't happen. Had the guy from Marshall or Mike Green right there. Apparently, they ranked plenty players ahead of him. So, so now what's the plan? I know you got post-June 1st cuts. Is it like, do we give in on Trey Hendrickson? I remember A to Z Sports, they wrote an article saying, well, they shouldn't give in the temptation for a blockbuster. And I get that, because if you give in the temptation for a blockbuster for a guy that you have to sign a new contract, that's going to eat into your cap. So I understand that. But at this point, well, what else is there to do? Do you piece some guys together? That's the question. Can you piece some guys together to help you in the pass rush? I don't know if Allegiant or Allergy is still out there. I don't know what's wrong. Maybe a physical thing. You get him and you find somewhere, you call the Giants and you try to get Kayvon Thibodeaux. Throwing some stuff out there. Trayvon Walker, the Jaguars. So I mean, it seemed like they had a plan. I say that it seemed like they had a plan, but every phase of the plan is struck out. Whether it was Miles Garrett, whether it was Josh Sweat or some other guys in the draft, whether it was getting the guy they wanted in the draft. Don't think that Boise State guy worth a damn. I ain't never seen him play, but I know he ain't worth a damn. Not coming in, you can depend on him in the 5th round. So miss me with that false optimism. You know what I'm saying? So what's the plan now? I mean, they struck out in 3 phases. They struck out in trading. They struck out via trade. They struck out via free agency. They struck out via the draft. So now where we at? Because what they got is not sustainable. Kaminsky is gone. He ain't coming back. You know, you got Marcus Davenport. Can't depend on him. Even if you playing for free, you can't depend on him. Josh Pascal, he often injured. You can't really depend on him. He can't get a sack to save his fucking life. He good at stopping the run, but getting a sack. And then I like the Muhammad kid. You hope that he continue to get better. But outside of that, Pat O'Connor, it's a sad unit, bro. It's a fucking sad unit. And don't let Aiden Hutchinson not come to be what he was last year. They in trouble. So either they go out there and get a guy like a Hendrickson that they can anchor that line, or they got to get multiple guys that can anchor the line, help anchor that line. They can do it as a unit. But all them big motherfuckers they got in the middle, they ain't about to get no sacks. Only one you can hope for is Anzarike and Makai Wingo. And I ain't depending on those 6th, 7th, 8th round draft pick. I'll tell you that right now. That's what you go up on. So I don't know what the next phase of their plan is. But if they don't fix it, the Lions gonna get fucked up this year. I don't know, that's the most belligerent and ignorant way I'm gonna say it, but that's how I had to get it across. They gonna get creamed this year. They don't fix that. See who you going up against? The brother from Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, just to name a few. And you telling me your pass rush ain't up to par with a new defensive coordinator? It's a recipe to be at the top of the draft again. You depending on Davenport. Jesus Christ. So I had to say, it was on my mind. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Hit the link in the description. Follow me on X, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Appreciate the love and support. Hit the link tree. You can find me everywhere. Peace.